Hello and welcome to the Lionel TMCC Northern Pacific 442 Atlantic number 604 review. So I posted a video on Christmas Day showcasing this engine and running it for a bit, and I decided it's time to do a review of it because I haven't seen anyone ever do a review of this engine. So let's just jump into it. Stats and facts of this engine. Its minimum curve is 0.31, so it can run on pretty much any layout. It has TMCC, so you can run it Legacy. You can run it on TMCC or conventional control. It is 19 inches long, so it's a pretty good size. And the pulling power, I have no idea, but I could tell you it pulls a somewhat decent amount. Now, going over technical problems, this may comply to all TMCC Atlantics or may not, but this engine, it accelerates really slow on conventional TMCC and legacy control. Even when I change the legacy momentum, it still accelerates very slow. But that could just be previous history of this engine. Other than that, it runs pretty good. I don't think I'll turn on the smoke, considering this smoke unit needs oil, because it's very loud, squeaky. Taking a look on the front of the engine, you can see we have some class lights here. These do not function, however, they do look pretty nice. We have a semi-scale coupler, which by the looks of it does have a, it does look like it has a screw, so if you want to swap out couplers with a dummy O-gauge coupler and not this dummy scale coupler, I think you could do that. However, when I bought it, it was used, so it didn't come in. It has this nice pilot. Keep in mind, this is a Southern Pacific design with a Pennsylvania Railroad tender, so it's quite a unique design. With the Southern Pacific design, you get the like graded pilot and a few other things. Looking on the front of the engine, as you can see, we have some nice, we have a nice headlight with some number boards. It does illuminate, as it should, with illuminated class lights. You can turn those on real quick. There we go. So it looks pretty nice. Then we have the Southern Pacific style handrails going down. And no, the smoke box door does not open, but it does look pretty nice. Looking on the top of the locomotive, we could see side number boards. I have no idea what this is called, but I think it has something to do with producing more steam, because I honestly have no idea, but obviously it could fit this thing through it, so I guess a pretty wide hole. I know it's a thing eccentric to Southern Pacific designs, but I have no idea what it is. Then we have a nice 604 number board on this sand dome, and a bell, which it does not swing, however, you can do it. Looking over here, we have a steam dome, along with the whistle. Then behind the whistle is some pop-off valves. We have a dynamo. Then we have simulated cab roof vent with simulated rivets, which they should be simulated. We have two crew figures inside, and the back head is modestly detailed. It honestly is one of the better ones that I've seen, and it does have a glowing firebox, and we'll take a look at that later. Looking on the side of the locomotive, you can see we have our steam chest cylinders. We have our running gear. This goes all the way down to the drivers. Of course, within Atlantic, you don't get much running gear. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's 442 Atlantic. 4 wheels on the pilot truck, 4 drive wheels, and 2 wheels on the trailing truck. 442. Not like the Oldsmobile. Have a Baldwin legible builder's plate that you can read through a magnifying glass with some simulated piping, although it does look pretty realistic. Looking here, you can see we have a very big air compressor. Like, this is pretty big compared to what I've seen. I'm guessing that this is eccentric to Southern Pacific designs. I don't know, because it's the only time I've seen it. Like, it's pretty big. Like, here's my fingers from top to bottom. That's a really big air compressor. Then we have some simulated steps with some more simulated piping. And we go all the way down to the cab, which the cab has a railroad identification, NP, Northern Pacific, number 604, and the class, N1442. I do believe this is a Southern Pacific A6 Atlantic. So if you bought the Southern Pacific one, I think it's in a half daylight scheme, so you would get daylight here. Although I do think there is a just War Baby Southern Pacific scheme as well. Then it would be an A6 Atlantic. But they also make the Santa Fe Atlantic and the Pennsylvania Atlantic, and I think a few other ones. But the Santa Fe and the Pennsylvania Atlantic, obviously, the Pennsylvania one's going to look like a Pennsylvania Atlantic. But the Santa Fe one looks like a Pennsylvania Atlantic too. But this one, Southern Pacific design, I know they shared a lot of common things, the Northern Pacific and the Southern Pacific. I personally like this a lot. On the tender, as you can see, it's much smaller than the engine. This is a Pennsylvania Railroad style tender. It says Northern Pacific. Nice, very crisp. It's really smooth. You got some simulated rivets. And it even says Northern Pacific 604. So for some reason, if they came disconnected, you could identify them with the engine. That's probably for more real life things, because I think they've only made one Northern Pacific run of the Atlantic. And if they did 2, then they probably just did the exact same one, just in legacy. You can see part of our coal load. It is simulated. It looks pretty realistic, but it shines quite a bit. And you can see there's actually a little water scoop here. I'm guessing this is from the Pennsylvania part, but I have no idea. It is 4-wheeled trucks. And I do believe it is sprung a little. Looking on the back of the tender, you can see we have a ladder with some steps here with the electrocoupler. So it tells you your gallon capacity, which I think is 16,000 gallons of water. Oh, my bad, 6,000 gallons of water. Yeah, you got the number right there. Some simulated wiring, because it goes up to the class lights. You have your rear class lights here. There's one there, and there's one here, and one there, and then behind the ladder there's another one. And we can turn those on real quick. As you can see, they don't go on because the engine is currently in forwards, so I will put it into reverse. There they are. I know they look kind of pink, but that is just how they look on camera. Trust me, they're very red. And while we have the time, we can take a look at the simulated firebox, or the glowing, flickering firebox. It actually isn't flickering, it just glows. But then again, this engine was made a pretty long time ago. We go ahead, you probably already saw, but we have add-on handrails one there, and then obviously the ladder, and then two more, one there and one there, and then some on the engine, which these are very important, these handrails, because this is your TMCC and legacy antenna, so don't damage them. And then there's some behind the cab, one there and one there. And now we'll take a look at the back head, and I'll show you. For a molded in back head, it really looks good. I know I just said it looks good for a molded in back head, but then again, aren't they all molded in? It's pretty hard to see, so I mean, I don't have a flashlight on me, but it looks pretty good. You're not going to be able to see it like at all, but right here is our tether plug-in, our drawbar, and there's let me go get a light just to be nice, and boom, there you go. As you can see, there's oh my god! Note to self, use a tripod stand when you want to set it on the layout. Anyways, there you go. You can see our tether plug-in. It is on the tender, but that's the plug-in for it. You can see our driver and fireman, or engineer. Got a butterfly Firebox door, and you can see some of the backhead detailing. It actually looks really good. There's gauges. They do have the brake on there, but there's no whistle cord, there's no Johnson bar, there's no throttle, but hey, it's molded in, and I've never seen an add-on fully detailed cab before, so yeah, this is actually pretty nice. Like, I bought this engine from Train Z. No, not N3V Games, the model train selling store. And I bought it, I saw it on their eBay store, and I wanted it so bad. It was $373. That's a weird price, but I wanted it so bad, I bought it. And it was supposed to arrive December 26th. It arrived December 24th, and my parents surprised me by not telling me about it. And I was honestly shocked. This is not sponsored by Train Z. Why would it be? I'm just an idiotic 13-year-old. If you're watching this in 2022 or late 2021, I'm a 14-year-old. Whatever. Yeah, looks pretty good. There's also some, oh my gosh, what is wrong with me? Alright, there is a few molded in handrails right there. That's all I wanted to say. The bloopers are real. Looking on the tender here, we have our simulated coal load, our tether here, and the other end of our drawbar. That's pretty much it. There's coal load, simulated water hatches that don't open. Yeah, I think there's run program switch, no smoke switch, and I think also Odyssey, but I don't know. Volume control is on the bottom of the tender as well, but you could also do that from the legacy remote. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is not Southern Pacific. If you got Southern Pacific, you would have a Vanderbilt tender. This is not PRR. If you had the PRR tender, you would need a PRR style Atlantic. Well, honestly, I don't care. It looks amazing. It sounds amazing. It runs amazing besides the slow acceleration. But you know what this engine really reminds me of? It really reminds me of something. Just feels really familiar about the Atlantic. I mean, oh. There's what I was looking for. Lionel 280. I'm not kidding. This thing, honestly, is almost the exact same boiler shape, almost the exact same cab, and, well, besides a few things like the Southern Pacific style pilot, this one having a couple cut bar because it's legacy, more detailed, blah, blah, blah. and the number board's right here, and obviously the wheel arrangement. And the big air compressor. Like, look at how small this one is. Obviously the tender, but it honestly looks really similar. Tell me in the comment section below, did I get you? Like, when I swapped frames, did you actually think that I swapped the engine? Or did you just see it instantly? I just want to know. You know, that would look really good. This would look really good in one of those, if you close your eyes memes going around. Maybe that's coming. Whoa! You know, now that I took the engine off the shelf, I really need to clean this thing. There's dust everywhere. I mean, it would help that if we didn't tear up the stairs and that the shelves are right next to the stairs. But even that. Also, I'm out of shelf space, so every time I would run any engine, I have to put the engine that was on the track on there, or until my dad goes back to work and he doesn't have to work in the basement. Because if we all know what disease, virus, what blah blah blah, then I'd be able to rearrange the shelves and fit the Atlantic on there. But yeah. Anyways, if we take a look at the Atlantic again, we would notice that it's time to run this beauty, because I'm sure you guys have already heard it in the previous video, but I'm serious. My microphone does not pick up the pure sound and clarity of this. Same with all the other trains. Maybe one day I'll get a better microphone. Anyways, let's run this beast. But you know what that means? Running a Lionel engine with only Menards freight cars, except the caboose at the end. That's MTH. Boom. Boom. I think part of my train to Ugh. Now, what is the best feature, in my opinion, of this engine? Well, if it wasn't for the Southern Pacific design, probably the sound. I mean, the sound on this engine just sounds amazing. You guys need to hear this thing in person, but obviously, we all know what Lionel engines all sound the best. Lionel Pure Marquette 1225, Lionel Nickel Plate Road 765, and Lionel Milwaukee Road 261. Those are the three best sounding ones. From least best sounding to greatest best sounding. Those are the top three. And when I say that, I mean it could be any one of those class engines. So you could have Lionel Pure Marquette 1223, Nickel Plate Road 759, the underrated CMSR, even though there's tons of those. Or Milwaukee Road 265. I don't know. I know I teased that a 261 would be coming to the channel, and there was one literally, like, across the street from me, but I was $200 short. Maybe next year, eh? Let's just run this Atlantic. Now, unlike the big boy video, it won't be goofy. The big boy video had a lot of bloopers in it. This video had too, and it had a few mess around things in it. But oh geez, my wires just came unplugged. Are you serious? I'm gonna fix it on camera. There you go, lights are off. But you obviously can't see me do it. You can hear it. I hate MTH Rail King power lock-ons, but that's what I went with. See? This is like really frustrating and I don't want to shock myself, so power off. The only reason why this comes unplugged is because there's two wires in it. Because one goes to legacy system and one goes to power. There we go! Like I said, I wish you guys could be here to hear this thing. It sounds amazing. There is no extended startup sequence. It is just TMCC, but here we go. Alright. So we'll start off with the whistle. As I was saying before, I was interrupted by blowdown. Let's start with the whistle. I moved it that way the sound isn't so muffled. If you get lucky, you'll get that sound where it doesn't start off with roo woo like that, and then it will slowly slow down to like a low pitch and then end. So here's the bell. Pretty quiet. Actually, it's pretty good. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Kutalk, the Kutalk that no one knows what they're saying. And then, let me move it again. Okay, and then the tower comm, which takes 3 seconds, but everyone can hear it. Northern Pacific 604.
Northern Pacific 604, you are clear for departure.
Are you kidding me? Blow down! Shut up!
Northern Pacific 604, you are clear for departure.
There we go. Obviously, I've been interrupted by the blowdown, so let's just do it. Here's steam hiss. And then you've already heard a little sample of the chuff. We do think this engine was modified because it should have 1 chuff per revolution. However, it has 4. So, that's nice. I know it was like the last 2 letters of the word nice, but the blowdown just interrupted me again. Can we just run this engine?
Northern Pacific 604, you are clear for departure.
And that's another thing, it slows down on the switches if you don't go fast enough. And then it takes forever to accelerate. Like, low momentum, it should accelerate super fast. If anyone knows how to fix this, tell me, please. I want to quickly point out is that the lighting on my camera is like super bad. Like the ground that you're seeing, like the wood that it's on, it does not look white. It is like it's plywood. It should look like plywood, but the lighting is super off. I need a better camera. Subscribe. No, this was not so you could subscribe. This is to tell you info that this is wrong. Like the lighting is off like a lot. Everything appears brighter. I'll try to adjust the lights to make it look better, but I'll try my best. I think that's too dark. This looks better, however that corner back there is really dark. However, the plywood looks better, so the engine looks better. Sounds off. Lionel, Menards, MTH. That is all of the Menards stuff I own. I wanted to get a caboose, but I couldn't. They were sold out. Yes, I know there's a giant bird. The giant bird is there because it's winter time and we spent a lot of time painting that and we don't want it to freeze and break easily. ends our video. I hope you enjoyed this review and another running session of this engine. There will be plenty more videos with this engine coming soon. Subscribe if you want. I really don't care. Like, dislike, whatever. I mean, that's what it's for, like, which it's for your opinion. Obviously, you don't have to do any of that. Tell me what you think in the comments. You don't have to do that either. Why am I asking all this stuff? For more silliness, randomness, and railroad content, see me on Instagram at JamesTrains1. James_Trains1. I think that's what it is. Let me check. Yep, there it is. James_Trains1. And right here, you could see